Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, hazardous weather graphics. None. Flood advisories over in the greater Anchorage area and here a few hours ago. And no watches, warnings, or advisories here anticipated around the state for the next day, so a perfect day coming up. And fire danger as well, gone. No significant fire danger for the season, and the season's ended here, so I probably could have skipped this. I think Dave showed it already, but I just thought I'd run it through again because I forgot to skip it. Anyway, satellite imagery showing clouds here moving northeastward that brought all the precipitation across southern Alaska and from back pushing up to the northeast. Actually just a few hundredths of an inch, anywhere from 1 to maybe a tenth at the most of an inch of precipitation over the Copper River Basin, and scattered amounts about a tenth of an inch also at Fairbanks with this feature here. And get into the colder air, higher elevations, snow, light snow going on through the Brooks Range, but nothing heavy. Again, just light amounts mixed in the afternoon here. So really depending on your time of day elevation and latitude as to what kind, and also proximity to the water, what type precipitation you had up there. But whatever it was pretty light, and we've got higher pressure starting to clear it out here, turn the winds northwesterly with the somewhat cooler air pushing in across Kodiak, Alaska, or Kodiak, obviously, Alaska, here, and then clearing out Bristol Bay, and getting a little breezy here. Next front bringing rain into the central Aleutians, pushing it over toward Unalaska, probably raining at Nikolsky now, and also low pressure here approaching, moving northeast along the mostly the Yukon Delta coast with a very weak trough here. You can just see that highlighted area cloudiness, just some showers associated with that, and that's going to be kind of taking a turn more to the northeast here overnight tonight, and then just kind of hang back to the west there. High pressure builds in over the interior tonight and tomorrow for a couple actually nice days coming up. Rain across the southeast coast, nothing too terribly heavy. Sitka picking up about 4/10 of an inch for the 12-hour period ending at 3 p.m. this afternoon. And let's see, Ketchikan had about 3/10 of an inch, and Juneau had 2/10 of an inch. So kind of a general rain here across the southeast coast, but again, nothing heavy on the light side. And same thing here for the North Gulf Coast, light amounts of rain, except Homer, for example, got about 2/10 of an inch of precipitation today. And then Marshall, with this band of moisture, picked up about 3/10 of an inch there, kind of a narrow band of wetting rain associated with this feature here, but that really gets narrow as you get on down toward Togiak Bay there. And then just to the east, some sunshine breaking out. On the chart today, you can see clearing out nicely here, Kodiak Island, those northwest breezes there with weak ridging popping up ahead of this system out along the southwest coast. But you can see clearing occurring all the way up to the western Brooks Range. Anatuvik over to Arctic Village, mostly snow if you had the higher elevations there, the Brooks Range, if you're up high enough, like above 1,500, 2,000 feet, that would be in the form of snow. Otherwise, you're looking at rain or rain and snow mixed. Areas of rain and mostly showers here, again, as I said, light amounts over the eastern interior, down to the North Gulf Coast, trough moving through the southeast coast. Another one here out to the west, and this system near the Aleutians spreading rain eastward into the Unmak Island area today. And we'll see tonight that continues to track east, so it's going to keep rain. Occasional rain will actually be spreading east and a little bit to the northeast, definitely across the Alaska Peninsula, just lingering showers here, western Bristol Bay up in toward the Togiak area, maybe Dillingham. And then this week low moves inland over or actually moves right along the Yukon Delta coast tonight with periods of light rain and cloudy skies for the Yukon Delta, Nunivak Island, and a risk of a shower for the Pribilos, but otherwise not too bad. Weak high pressure, really actually more of a lack of storminess than a presence of high pressure here over the interior areas, but skies will be slowly clearing out, stay mostly clear Kodiak Island. Winds kind of turning lighter and a little bit more west or west-southwesterly. Diminishing but lingering showers over the Copper River Basin from the Coast Range here, all the way up to the Alaska Range. Areas of light rain or snow, again, depending on your elevation, here over the eastern interior, upper Yukon Valley, back across the central Arctic coast. And still a good onshore flow here in that trough now. The low pressure center weakening, but the trough holding together enough, especially in the upper air, that it's going to stay pretty unsettled and damp across the southeast coast tonight. But tomorrow, things should start slowly tapering off. Should end here, maybe southern southeast coast, Prince of Wales Island, tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, general decrease in the shower activity for the Panhandle. Same thing for the eastern North Gulf Coast and Copper River Basin, but showers lingering throughout much of the day over in that area, mostly over the eastern areas, Wrangell Mountains up to possibly the southern slopes of the far eastern Alaska Range, and then mostly clear, weak high pressure up here over the eastern interior areas. But again, due to a lack of storminess, we're going to see a pretty nice day with some sunshine for the Kenai Peninsula, Madanuska-Susitna Valley, and actually a swath of that right up to the western Arctic coast. Unsettled, good rain with this system really developing now for tomorrow. Tomorrow, moderate amounts of rain, maybe gale force winds coming into Kodiak Island, Alaska Peninsula, back gale force northwesterlies here coming into the eastern Aleutians, and then a trough out here for cloudy skies and some shower activity in the Bering Sea, and that'll kind of persist here. Nothing really strong, just general west to west-northwest flow here across the Bering. Several impulses embedded in that flow, so kind of showery, damp, and unsettled. One of those moves inland here. Mostly cloudy, scattered showers, or a chance of showers here over the western interior. Chance of rain or snow western Arctic coast, Kotzebue Sound. Mostly sunny Monday here, south central Alaska, Cook Inlet, Prince William Sound, right up across the western Copper River Basin, eastern interior. Dry with some clearing all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast, across the Brooks Range and North Slope. Winds are also light, but a good low pressure area here, pushing right in toward the southeast coast. Gale force winds, rain increasing to moderate to possibly heavy at times later in the day. And so that is really going to be bearing down on the Panhandle. So lows tonight down that way, upper 40s, lower 50s, upper 20 or mid 20s to lower 30s, or mid 20s to mid 30s here over the interior. A little chillier in the Brooks Range, upper 30s Yukon Delta, lower 40s everywhere else. And the highs for tomorrow, mid to upper 40s, Tanana Valley areas to lower to mid 30s for the Brooks Range, and then near 40 or mid 30s to near 40 for the Arctic Coast North Slope. 50s for the Panhandle, 50s for the Aleutians and the Alaska Peninsula, south central Alaska. Lows the following morning, upper 20s to lower 30s here. Higher elevations, the Brooks Range, maybe some frost in the Copper River Basin. That'll be followed by highs 55 to 60 south central Alaska and near 60 possibly in the southeast, along the southeast coast.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First line weather graphic Sunday morning. We got a swath of VFR here from the western Aleutians heading northeast across the Pribilofs, not quite to the southwest coast, so it's marginal VFR St. Lawrence Island in across southwest interior in the Kuskokwim Valley, and then back southwest here and we get some IFR here with that system down over the Aleutians, eastern and back to about Atka, that whole mess sliding northeastward. So improving back here over Adak and then Atka later in the day. And some marginal VFR possible to start here over Cook Inlet, and then VFR central interior back to the northwest, and then IFR eastern North Slope to the central Arctic coast and kind of meandering down the east side here toward the border, especially over the Wrangell Mountains, and areas of IFR over the Panhandle for the afternoon. Improving here, becoming VFR Prince of Wales Island, possibly some of the central inside water areas as well. IFR though over toward Hyder and Stewart to the southeast part of the southeast coast here. Marginal VFR continues up across Yakutat into the portion of the Copper River Basin, mostly the east and southeast side, but VFR Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, Madanuska-Susitna Valley, Prince William Sound, right up into the central eastern interior, back to the northwest to the western Arctic coast. Marginal VFR, Seward Peninsula, Bering Strait, of course, and then on down to about Nunivak Island, but looking pretty good out here over the Bering Sea. Pribilofs VFR, Adak Atka VFR, and some more marginal stuff out west, and then some IFR slipping up into Bristol Bay on up toward Togiak, Dillingham, marginal VFR. And then for the Monday morning outlook, VFR here over the interior areas, increasing marginal VFR as you head south from the valleys, well actually through the inlet till you get to Southern Cook Inlet, Kamishak Bay. Marginal VFR, southern and east side of the Kenai Peninsula, all of Prince William Sound up to the coast range here. And IFR from Kodiak Island along that frontal boundary and in advance of it, pushing in to the southern panhandle as that whole upper system drives on, or shoves it on in, and not too bad out over the Bering Sea. And then for the afternoon on Monday, IFR from much of the Arctic coast, north slope up here, south of the Brooks Range, VFR from the Noatak Valley, maybe caught to be right on the edge with Selawik, Koyukuk Valley, Yukon Flats, Tanana Valley, and maybe the Kuskokwim Valley. A band of marginal VFR here with disturbance Seward Peninsula in across the, looks like the lower Yukon River Valley areas and into the Delta, as in Kuskokwim Delta. Areas of VFR, marginal VFR, and IFR out over the Bering Sea. VFR Kodiak Island, IFR along the southeast coast. Passes Anatuvik starting out marginal, becoming VFR, and more moisture as you head east, so it'll be a same trend, but a little slower for Adigan, starting out IFR, becoming marginal. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR becomes VFR, rainy VFR, windy VFR. Isabel, marginal to start, and then VFR probably by noon. Same thing from Antasta, a little slower from Antasta than Isabel. And Tanita VFR, Portage VFR, Chilkoot and White, IFR becoming marginal in the afternoon. Freezing levels at the surface here, this of course tomorrow morning, about 4 a.m., eastern central interior, 2,000 feet all the way down almost to Yakutat, 4,000 feet with that upper trough cold pool going through the panhandle, about 2,000 to 4,000 feet out here to the west. Icing, moisture sliding northeastward tomorrow, so some of this moderate or considerable rime icing will catch the eastern Aleutians and the mostly the south side of the Alaska Peninsula, lighter, becoming more scattered up to the north to nothing in the interior. And then this area kind of passing by to the east, so some icing threats up over the central and especially the eastern Arctic coast of the eastern Brooks Range, maybe down to the Porcupine River, and kind of mixed icing chances over the panhandle, slowly diminishing. And for the jet stream, ridging coming in, but you still have 150 knot wind going through the panhandle there, 160 south of this low swinging through, or south of the Alaska Peninsula. And looking at 9,000, we've got a series of lows here from southeast to northwest from the Alaska Peninsula up along the Russian coast, a weaker one over the Brooks Range. Light winds for the panhandle, southeast 35, Kodiak Island, 25 to 30, central eastern Aleutians, 35 for the Fox Islands at 3,000 feet, 25 to 40 knot winds. Turbulence, occasional moderate chop, Kodiak Island, Aleutian Range, and the Alaska Peninsula, the eastern Aleutians.
Ahoy, Cadets, and welcome to the Okeanos Explorer. I'm Debbie, and I'm an ocean explorer. I work for NOAA, which stands for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Together with many other people, I work on this ship, and we explore the deep sea. How do we do that? Let's go find out.
Octonauts, let's do this. Yow!
The pressure in the ocean is so great humans can't go there, so we send a special robot. Cadets, meet Deep Discoverer, our special robot for ocean exploration. And this is Chris. He works with Deep Discoverer. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Debbie.
Can you tell us about what Deep Discoverer does?
Sure. So this is Deep Discoverer, and today we're going to take Deep Discoverer up to 4 miles down to the ocean floor so you can see what Deep Discoverer sees.
And how do we do that?
We do that by using these powerful cameras and powerful lights.
That's neat. And what is that?
And this is our manipulator arm, and we use this arm to take biological and geological samples that we store up front in these boxes, and so that we can bring them to the surface so scientists can analyze them.
Wow, isn't that cool, OctoCadets? Wow! Now that we know more about the special robot that explores the seafloor, let's find out more about the ship. OctoCadets, let's do this. Now let's find out what we do with D2's video. Come along. This is the control room. A lot of things about D2 happen in here. Behind me you see the pilots. They steer D2 on the seafloor. And over here we have scientists. Hi Steve and Stacy.
Hi, this is Steve and I'm Stacy and we are marine biologists.
Can you tell us about the work you do here?
We actually look at the videos collected by the robots and we try to identify organisms along with other scientists on the shore.
What are you looking at right now?
We're actually looking at a sea star.
That's so awesome, thank you. Now let's look at how we make maps of the seafloor.
Excellent, Quasi. A good map helps you to get to places you've never been.
We also have a scientist on board who makes maps of the seafloor. Hi Derek.
Hi Debbie.
Can you tell us about your work?
Sure. My job on the ship is to make maps of the ocean floor. We do this by sending sound from the bottom of the ship. It echoes off the seafloor and comes back to the ship. And then from that, we can make maps like this. So this is what it would look like if you were able to drain the water out of the ocean and actually see what the landscape looked like down there. We use these maps to give the vehicles a place to dive, and they explore further, just like octonauts do.
Status report, Dashie.
We're right on course, Captain.
So earlier we learned that D2 picks things up from the seafloor with his manipulator arm. Let's find out what we do with those samples. This is the wet lab, and Megan spends a lot of time here. Megan, can you tell us about your work?
I am the sample data manager, so when the ROV comes up, we go out and we collect the samples from the ROV and we bring them in here. And we try to record as much information about them as possible, everything from the details about what they look like to the environment conditions where they were found. How cold was it, for example? Then we come in and we take imagery using this microscope, and we take pictures using this camera as well. And then after we get all the pictures taken and we're ready, we prepare them for shipping to other scientists and museums so more science can be done, such as the squat lobster, this cup coral as well.
And what is that?
This is a piece of coral, or several pieces of coral, that we think might actually be a new species. So we are going to send it out for a comparison to existing species to see if we discovered something new.
Wow, you have a really cool job.
Thank you.
Fascinating. I've read about this, but I've never actually seen it.
An important part of how we explore the ocean is keeping in touch with scientists and OctoCadets on shore. Let's go see how we do that. Rosemary, could you tell the OctoCadets a little about what that dish does?
Sure. My name is Lieutenant Rosemary Abbott. I'm the operations officer aboard the Okeanos Explorer, and that is our VSAT. It stands for Very Small Aperture Terminal, and inside that satellite dome is a very powerful dish antenna that allows us to communicate with shore and share video in real time. The technology is called telepresence.
Wow, that is so interesting. Thank you, Rosemary. Now I'm getting really hungry. Let's go to the kitchen and talk about food. This is the ship's kitchen, also known as the galley. And this is Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Debbie.
Michael is the chief steward on this ship, and he keeps 49 people fed for 3 weeks at a time. Michael, how do you do that?
With a lot of care and with the help of 3 crew members. I have myself, the chief steward, a chief cook, and a second cook. And we just do it with a lot of love and care and make sure that everybody's happy and well fed. We use up to 150 dozen eggs per trip, up to 100 gallons of milk, a lot of veggies and fruits, a lot of snacks. Everybody's very pleased with what we usually put out. We also make sure that we do it in a loving way, in a sanitary way, in a safe way that keeps everybody from getting any tummy aches.
about to enter the ship's bridge. It's like the Octopod's headquarters.
Octonauts to the HQ.
Ahoy, Captain.
Ahoy, Debbie.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Octocadets, meet Eric Johnson, the commander of the ship. Eric, can you tell us about what you do up here?
Absolutely. Hello, Octocadets. My name's Eric Johnson. I'm an Corps officer, and I'm the captain of the Okeanos Explorer. Welcome to my office. This is where we drive the ship. This is where we control the operations. We run the propellers that are underneath us in the back to the wheel up here at the front, which is where we steer. It's a pretty cool job. It's very exciting, and it's pretty beautiful around here as well.
So, Octocadets, now you know a little bit about the ship and how we explore the deep sea. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I'll see you next time.
Debbie, safety first.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at today's sea ice analysis, no ice again here, well, way off the coast, in fact, off the map up here, a long ways from Wrangell Island. And here for the Beaufort Sea, quite a distance north of the coast, except for this patch here, which really isn't anything significant. So moving on to coastal water forecasts. South coast, west winds 20-25 knots. So we got the small craft advisories here, say for the area from west of Port Alexander up to the north coast, and then they fall back toward Yakutat, southwest 15 in the afternoon, seas 10 to 12 feet. South to southeast 15 knots for central and northern inside waters with 3-foot seas, and southeast to 10 for Clarence Strait, seas running at about 2 feet. Outlook for Monday, big increase in the winds. Good gales coming in with that next storm driving eastward across Gulf of Alaska. South-southwest, 35 knots. Could be stronger earlier in the day here for the south coast. North coast, full gale south to east here, 40 knots. Seas up to 17 feet. Lynn Canal, southeast at 15, but we got gale warnings out for both Stevens Passage, or actually these central and southern inside waters. All gales, 35 to 40 knots out of the southeast with possible gusts of 45 knots. And Prince William Sound tomorrow, southeast at 10, 2-foot seas, southeast 15, eastern North Gulf Coast, swinging around to the west at 20 with 7-foot seas for the western coast here. Barren Islands, southeast 20 knots, 6-foot seas, small craft advisories, Kamishak Bay with those easterlies at 25 knots, northeast 15 with 3-foot seas for Cook Inlet. Outlook for Monday, small craft advisories, Cook Inlet, 25 to 30 knot winds, strongest south of the Forelands, out of the north, seas up to 12 feet south of the Forelands, otherwise northern Cook Inlet about 5 feet, and 30 knot winds with 13-foot seas there for Kamishak Bay, 30 knots out of the north of the Barrens, seas 15 feet, and winds and seas go up a little bit here, just a foot for the western North Gulf Coast, but winds will be northeast at 30 knots. Good gales here for the eastern North Gulf Coast around Middleton Island, northeast at 40. Only coming up to 20 knots out of the north there for Prince William Sound, the way it looks at this point in time. And for Kodiak Island, southeast 35 knots, 8-foot seas. Sitkinak to Castle Cape, we've got gales east 35 knots there and 12-foot seas, and then change the direction, knock it back to 25 here from Castle Cape to Cape Sarachef, and then easterly gales here for Bristol Bay turn northeast at 35 knots along the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. Those seas up to 11 feet. And then for Monday, northwest 30 to 35 knots here blowing across the peninsula. Seas 13 to 17 feet. Small craft advisories Bristol Bay, and from Castle Cape to Sitkinak, northwest 30 knots through here. 25 for Bristol Bay, north 25 of the east side of Kodiak Island. North 30 for Shelikof Strait. Seas 12 to as high as 16 feet. And for the far western Aleutians, say Kiska on out to at 2, northwest 15, small craft advisories here for the west central Aleutians, 25 knot winds, and then north-northwest, 30 knots, central Aleutians, Adak and Atka, 9 to 10 foot seas, and gales here for the Fox Islands, north 30 to 40 knots or north-northwest 30 to 40 knots. Strongest across Unalaska Island, seas up to 14 feet. For Monday, small craft advisories hang on to Unalaska Island through the day into the afternoon. West-northwest at 30, west 20, Unmac Island, northwest 15 to 20 for the Adak and Atka area, and then 15-knot winds from Adak to Kiska, and then west of there, southwest at 20. Southwest coast, north-northwest, 20 knots. Small craft advisories for the Pribilofs, north 25 knots, north 20 knots for St. Lawrence Island. And for Monday, northwest 15 there for St. Lawrence Island, and northwest along the southwest coast up to 25 knots, so south of Nunivak Island, 7-foot seas. Pribilofs west at 20, St. Matthew Island west 15. Central eastern Beaufort Sea coast, easterlies 15 knots, seas 4 to as high as 6 feet. West side of the coast, east, but only 10 knots, and getting a little squirrely here, but east-southeast at 10 from, say, Cape Beaufort to Cape Thompson, and then northeast 15 on down to Wales. And for Monday, 10-knot northerlies there for the southeastern Chukchi Sea, and then from Cape Thompson up the west side, 15 out of the northeast, 20 knots. Central coast, east 15 for the eastern Beaufort Sea coastline. For tonight, stays wet over the panhandle, but no heavy rain, just kind of a continuous light rain, trending towards showery conditions in the north. This system spreading rain to the Alaska Peninsula, which will develop definitely stronger down to 974 millibars, gales, rain, possibly heavy at times, Kodiak, Alaska Peninsula. And that whole mess shifts across the Gulf of Alaska Sunday night and Monday afternoon right into the southeast coast.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.